Cuba Production presents Keep It Real featuring the best in journalism. Here, November 2012. It's nice today, 65 degrees here. I'm sitting here in Marcus Garvey Park, this beautiful sunshine, and I'm here with brother Rahim, one of the loyal, dedicated members of the Nation of Islam and a true follower of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's a junior FOI, and it's a privilege and opportunity to introduce you to this brother, and he's doing a camera operation. And we're doing a lot of networking here in the East Coast Tri-State as well as on this planet Earth. What I'd like to discuss today on this second segment here on YouTube is the book on my life, dealing with me and my brother Maliki Shakur, who's my physical brother, same mother and father, and we also the true uncles of Tupac Shakur. And this book is an introduction on our lives and some of the people who inspired me and influenced me in my life. I come up out of the foster houses, known as the Martin Luther King Towers today. Building 20, the same building me and Bill Perkins come out, the same building. He come out at 13G, I come out at 2G. Staying there with my mother's mother, which is my grandmother on my mother's side of the family, unfortunately. Then we moved to Hoe Avenue in the Bronx, 165th and Hoe Avenue, 952 Hoe Avenue, between Vail and Simpson. And then we moved to the Patterson Projects on 143rd Street between Morris and 3rd Avenue. And those are the projects where Tiny Archibald come out of. Iran Barkley, the boxer who beat Tommy Hearns in '86. And the leads to not only Guy Fisher, who I personally know, his whole family, his half-brother Coco, his younger brother Wowo, his older sister Eileen, and Vicky, who passed away in June of 1991, and his younger sister Wowo. All of us come up together. They know my mother and father, and I know their mother who raised them. And also shout out to Bobby Hines and Wap, who also lived in Godfrey's building Passion, and they were loyal brothers. Also Gary Carswell, known as Gator, he's one of the director of operations in ARC, and he's also a pastor and has his own church, New Life Church, over there in the South Bronx where we grew up at. And it's just to let you know that this book has a lot of information on the school I went to, some of the places I used to play hooky when they had a lot of the racism in the school. Some of the places that influenced me to be into the media that I am today is Joe Franklin on Channel 9 WOR, and the other one is on Channel 11, Chuck McCann on Channel 11. We used to show Bozo the Clown and Three Stooges at that specific time in the 60s. Well, these are some of the places I used to go into when I felt uncomfortable in the classroom because of discrepancy and the racism and the foolishness. And I was very sensitive at that time, a very quiet person, so I would go and drift off and journey into the world and obtain the things that I need to know today. And some of the places I used to drift off to when I used to leave the school, get on the 6 train and go down to the United Nations building, or the public library on 42nd Street and 5th Avenue, or the Museum of National History on Central Park West 81st Street, or the Bronx Zoo near the waterfall. And this is just some of the experiences that influenced me on various parts of my life. And this book here goes into specific of my development in Nation Islam, all the way into the Panthers. But I went to John Jay College briefly to become a correctional officer, but my devotion to the struggle of humanity, I made the decision to go into the Black Panther Party and try to bring changes to humanity, along with the Civil Rights Movement, along with Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, and a lot of the things that we were trying to resolve as far as the social changes in his development and stuff. I remember back in 1964, this is when John Gaddy was living on Belmont Avenue, 183rd Street. But anyway, we used to take the 3rd Avenue the train to 180th Street between Belmont and Clinton Avenue. They used to have pigeon stores up there. And a lot of us used to buy pigeons, you know, Latinos, blacks, Italians, Irish, and I noticed within that atmosphere, flying pigeons, it was very, uh, I didn't experience the racism and the dislike of humanity as I did outside of that circle. But in this book, this is just the introduction of what I'm speaking about, and I'm working on the full documentary, which will be coming out in 2013. Hopefully that y'all will get it and see exactly who I am. My name is Shaquan Latinez, better known as King Cuba, and my brother Maliki Shakur, who's been incarcerated 34 years now, thanks to a few 5%ers who criminated him in court and caused him to be prosecuted and convicted with 25 to life. But it just goes to show you that you never really know who your friends are until issues and trials and tribulation prevail. I would like to say shout out to some of my homeboys that kept it true to me and that's still around. Guy Fisher, who's still incarcerated, I'd like to send a shout out to him. Also shout out to Gene Gotti, shout out to Margarita, shout out to my brother Maliki Shakur, shout out to Dominique that's in Bulletin's North Carolina hospital with kidney problem. Shout out to Jose Harris, Light, Russell, Rondu that's incarcerated in New York State, just to name a few. And I also like to say for those out here in the East Coast Tri-State, or wherever you may be listening to this YouTube, really take responsibility in raising your children, because the way they act in the day, we have to deal with them for the next 15, 20, 30 years. And if this is how they present themselves today in our society, that we may have some real difficult problems in our country, but it won't be the system, it'll be our people, our young generation who has been lack of knowledge of self and no discipline and proper upbringing by the mothers and fathers, because the father got to stay on board to raise a complete, stable family. This is mandatory by the laws of humanity. And we have too many loose youth out here with no father figure, and they run around savagely. And I talk to some of them, and some of them run from me when I try to give them insight. But it is what it is. So take heed, while your life is still here, and take advantage of the opportunities in America, because this is the greatest country in the world, whether we disagree with a lot of things or not. You can learn a lot of things, and we have some of the greatest institutions on earth right here in this country. And a lot of our youth with no prison record, no felonies, they not even trying to do anything to uplift themselves to be the greatest people that we are. So this is King Cuba production presents Keep It Real, featuring the best in journalism. I just wanted to give you a little insight on my book here, the introduction of King Cuba and Maliki Shakur, and dealing with our life issues and our contribution to the struggle of humanity. So I'll see you on the next segment. This is the second segment on YouTube, and the next one I will be also elaborating on my position here in society, because there's still a lot of controversy. People don't really know who I am. They just hear a lot about me. That's King Cuba, that's Tupac uncle, etc. Is he this, is he that? So on the next segment, I'm going to clarify my position so that you will have a clear understanding on who I am, what my goals are, and what I'm living for. This is King Cuba production presents Keep It Real, featuring the best in journalism. See you on the next segment.